This is Reed McCoy, and I want y'all to know McCoy's Building Supply is proud to be a devoted supporter of Texas FFA. We know that when you started your FFA journey, you didn't expect to face a year when you couldn't shake hands with the man who bought your steer at the stock show or couldn't high-five your ag teacher when you received your A&M acceptance letter. It's a challenging time, but we know that your compassionate spirits and innovative thinking will carry you through as we continue to look out for each other and our future.
Good afternoon, Texas FFA and agricultural science teachers. Man, it is awesome to see everybody. We have had an incredible series of webinars, and today is no different. You've heard me say throughout this entire series, if you want to be the best, train with the best. If you want to be the best, find the best out there and train with them. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm always promoting agricultural advocacy. We've got to share the incredible story of how we produce the food that feeds a hungry world. And we have a panel today of experts that represent just that. Subject matter experts who are standouts, not only in the state of Texas, but in the United States and beyond. So we are honored to have all of you on our call today, on our Zoom call, and we're going to let you each go around and introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you and who you represent, and then I'll come back with some questions. We're going to start with you, Kimmy, who is a product of the Texas FFA. Ann, tell us a little bit about you.
Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate that. My name is Kimmy, and I am a third generation beef producer in the state of Texas, and as a proud alumni of the Texas FFA, and currently own a seed stock operation. My family still farms and ranches here in Texas and then in South Central Oklahoma. And when I'm not doing that, I wear many hats. So not only I own a marketing and communications agency called Cultivate Agency, and we have a wide variety of agriculture clients where we assist and help them build their communication and marketing strategies and plans. Some of those clients range from State Fair of Texas to cactus feeders to micro technologies, things that are prevalent in agriculture through and through, and help put a safe and affordable food supply and clothing supply for all of us. When I'm not working or working with clients or on the ranch, I'm a mom to two FFA members, an alumni FFA who's in college at West Texas A&M, and then my youngest son, Zach, is a freshman, I should say probably a sophomore now that we're at convention time. He'll get on to me for that. A sophomore at Ponder High School.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of watching Ann's family grow up, and it's awesome to see them involved in the FFA and doing so many great things. 4-H as well. So
yep, that's true. Both.
We can definitely throw a plug out there for 4-H as well because we work well with them. The next presenter here is no stranger to the Texas FFA. A lot of the teachers that'll be watching this know Marla Calico's actually joined us on the lead bus and has been a participant in our lead experience for Texas agricultural science teachers. So Marla, for those teachers that don't know you yet, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and who you are?
Hi, thanks, Aaron. My name's Marla Calico. I'm the president and CEO of the International Association of Fairs and Expositions. We're headquartered in Springfield, Missouri, and we represent the agricultural fairs of the world. County fairs, state fairs, regional ag expositions, livestock shows. The majority of our members are here in the United States, but we also have members in Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia, and occasionally from Korea and Mexico. And so it's a lot of fun to work with fair folk throughout the world and to help them advocate for agriculture on a regular basis and reach out to consumers. I too am a product of a dairy farm. I grew up milking cows in Southwest Missouri, very active in 4-H. I come from the old days. Back 2 years after they allowed women into FFA, I was able to wear a blue jacket for 2 years in my hometown in Aurora, Missouri.
That's great. Marla, we always appreciate your willingness to share with our teachers. I'm really excited about our final presenter. I can tell you that this year, having had a chance to participate in the Animal Ag Alliance Summit, which was done virtually, when Kay began to speak, I said, somehow we've got to get her in front of all the Texas Ag Science teachers. So, Kay, thank you for joining us. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your background, your role, and what you do at the Animal Ag Alliance?
Sure. I am very excited to participate. So my name is Kay Johnson-Smith. I'm the president and CEO of the Animal Agriculture Alliance. And our organization is a national nonprofit organization based in Arlington, Virginia, so just right outside of Washington, D.C. And our mission is to help bridge the communication gap between farm and fork. So everything our organization does falls under 3 pillars of connect, which we connect across all segments of animal agriculture, including inputs and outputs, so also working with restaurants and retailers as well. We work to engage influencers of public opinion, so we work to help people better understand animal agriculture and to correct a lot of the misinformation about the industry that's presented by activist organizations. And then we work to protect the interests of farmers and ranchers and the food industry across, again, all segments from that misinformation or from threats, because food and agriculture are part of our national critical infrastructure within national security within the U.S. So personally, I have been with the Alliance now for 26 years as of next week. It's crazy to think I could be doing this long, but I really found my passion for agriculture and years before even coming here when I worked for the Virginia Farm Bureau. So that's where I really fell in love with agriculture. My dad said we were city kids growing up in the country, and I really didn't have a connection to agriculture other than, working our family garden. But my parents both grew up on farms. My dad's family had a dairy and they logged as well. So when I got to Virginia Farm Bureau as a lobbyist at the time, I really fell in love with the people because they were just like my family. So my career really has been in agriculture almost since college, and I just can't even imagine working in another industry. Personally, I'm also excited that I represent the hotbed of agriculture, Arlington and Alexandria, on the Virginia Board of Agriculture. So, and I jokingly say that we don't have a whole lot, but there is some urban agriculture, and agriculture is important to Arlington and Alexandria. So I'm excited to represent this district on our Board of Agriculture for the state of Virginia.
Well, thank you all for being with us. I'm always telling teachers that, in the world of development, obviously everybody thinks that all we do is raise money. And I said, no, it's not that way. We're really trying to raise friends. And philanthropy is the giving of time, talent, or treasures. And, each of you sharing a little bit of your time and being sponsors too, Ann, by the way, we appreciate you. We value the time that you're sharing with our teachers. So I just want to start with a thank you. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our topic of agricultural advocacies. What are the professionals saying? So I'm gonna put on each of you that I recognize you as a subject matter expert. We always tell the teachers, if you want to be the best, train with the best. We have assembled what I believe are some of the best and brightest in the world of advocacy right here, right now. So if we're thinking about our students and those students that are sitting right now in these agricultural science classrooms, teachers that are sitting in there with them, and we say it is important for you to become advocates. Let's unpack that a little bit. And let's make sure they fully understand why it is important that we need them to share their voice and lend their stories to the growing of the food, fiber, and animal protein that our students kind of represent. So, Ann, I'm gonna start with you. What is advocacy? Why is it important? And why should students and teachers be involved?
Sure, Aaron. When we think of the word advocacy, sometimes we want to run the other way, but we are all advocates, whether we like it or not. We are living, breathing, and we all have that story to tell. So therefore, it does matter because when you look at it, we know the facts that we know our customers, which are consumers, and our friends. And we are all consumers, and some of us are generations removed from the farm or any part of agriculture. And so as we become generationally removed, it's our goal and our job and our duty to be a responsible citizen within the community. And from that perspective, we have to tell what we do. We have to be transparent in that aspect of it. And we truly have to open ourselves up to create a dialogue. Kay mentioned earlier a connection point. We have to have that connection point. So the only way that we can truly make a difference in promoting agriculture and the importance of agriculture in our environment and our society is by opening that conversation and having a dialogue. So it is truly important, and it's nothing to be afraid or scared of. Because it's super easy just to tell your story of where you come from and what it means to you and what you're doing to be a part of that society and the part of that responsibility of your future.
Very good. Very good. Marla, tell us about your perspective on why students and teachers should take it seriously and why they should engage in sharing with the public.
Sure, Aaron. Thank you. Again, when we talk about advocacy, I like to substitute a word and call it being proactive. Far too often in agriculture today, we have to be reactive because there are forces out there who have gotten a jump on us. And as Kay knows full well, the animal rights activists have gotten a jump in terms of winning minds and winning the pocketbook. And so it's extraordinarily important that we become proactive. And I think there is really no group better positioned than FFA leaders. FFA leaders, because you are coming into the point in your life where you've learned about agriculture, you're living agriculture, you have a bright, fresh look on things. You also have the younger generation that's looking up to you. I know from visiting with my friends in Texas Lead over the last couple of years, you're working proactively with the younger generation, 4th, 5th graders. You're out there to tell the story. They're looking up to you. So you are perfectly positioned as leaders to tell true story of agriculture. As Ann said, to be proactive in what you do and to be transparent in what you do, but you're perfectly positioned to do that. And it truly is more important than ever.
That's excellent. And we're going to circle back to some of those comments, Marla, because we're going to talk a little bit more about reaching down to that next generation. Kay, give us your perspective. Tell us, when we think about all the FFA members in the United States, even the students enrolled in agricultural science classes that are even exposed to these messages, I think we have an incredible footprint and an incredible opportunity. But just how important is it from the seat that you sit in?
Absolutely extremely important. We tell all of our members that advocacy, and again, being proactive, communication, has to become part of your business plan today. And as FFA leaders, you will be in positions of business plans, whether it's for your farms, your own business, which I know many of you do as part of your challenges. But also, if you're working for a company in agriculture, advocacy has to be part of the business plan because no one else is going to tell that story about the importance of agriculture. Everybody in America eats. Everybody in every country around the world, they eat. And without agriculture, food is not available. So it is critical, but people don't understand it. And as Marla mentioned, there are a lot of very loud, very aggressive, squeaky wheels out there that are going to that are experts in getting their message across. And they use a lot of emotion, they use a lot of rhetoric, they use a lot of misinformation. They don't have, unfortunately, in many cases, the ethics of people within agriculture. And so their voices are very, very loud. But keep in mind, especially with animal agriculture, still 95% of the public enjoy meat, milk, and eggs on a daily basis. They want the products that come from the farm. They want the products that farmers and ranchers are producing. They have to have them. It's our job to help them feel good about them and feel confident about what we're doing and what's happening on the farm, so that they feel good about what they're serving to their family.
Okay, so now y'all are doing great. You're doing exactly what I suspected you were going to do. So now we're going to really start drilling that down. We have this new world that we live in called social media, where we have this incredible platform to vocalize. And I think that a lot of times, some of the counsel that we give students and teachers is learn to be a little discerning as to whether you react or you respond. And the way we kind of share that with teachers and students is that if you were sick and you went to the doctor and they gave you medicine and they said, oh, you're reacting to that, we say, no, that's not good. We want you to respond to that. And I think a lot of times that the teachers and the students, we know how hard we work, and we're offended when somebody doesn't agree or understand what we do. So we want to argue with them. And really, it's probably not that effective. I mean, we've got, the way we explain it to the kids is you got 20% that believe this, 20% that believe this. You're not going to change either's mind. What we're really doing is competing for the 60% in the middle. And Marla said it earlier, we have to be willing to compete for minds. High school football teams take the field every Friday night to compete with 13 plus coaches. We have to be willing to step out on this field of agriculture and food and be willing to compete for the minds of the people that are listening, that are undecided. It's scary to think that I saw a statistic that social media is now the #1 source of food information. If social media is now the #1 source of food information, and we've got agricultural science students and FFA leaders, I'm hopeful that when they hear this, they will begin to engage in the dialogue, into the discussion. So maybe what I would like to ask y'all is, what would be 3 tips that you would give students? 3 tips on how to appropriately engage in a social media platform. And we'll start with you, Ann.
Wow, to narrow it down to 3 tips. That's hard, Aaron, in that aspect of it. But I would tell our students and our ag science teachers to enter into that conversation authentically and transparently. If we are authentic with our message, it'll be well received in that. And you talked about that what I call the movable middle. That movable middle of that 60%, they're the ones that are going to be open to listening to us in that aspect of it. I would also advise our students to enter in with confidence, but with consideration. Think about ahead of time before you react with your post of what could the outcome be of it. How will it be perceived from someone who may sit on either side of that movable middle? Because that's usually where your arguments come into play. And we don't ever want to be argumentative. If we are argumentative, we've lost ourselves within the own noise of social media. And I think those are the key things that I would remind our students and teachers of. Oftentimes we are very passionate, and the passion gets the best of us at times, because we then become reactive, and we lose sight and lose focus of that. The last tip I would say is, if you're uncomfortable with a topic, have some backup available to help you as you enter into that conversation. It's okay to lean on your ag teachers, and your ag teachers to lean on the association and those checkoff organizations and fairs and Hay and Animal Ag Alliance. It's okay to rely on them for help, to come to your aid, because you at least opened the door and began that communication.
Very good. Very good. Marla, what tips would you give them?
Well, the first one that I would say is watch your language, meaning listen to what the other side or the people with differing opinions, what are the terminology that they use, and make sure that your language is simple. I think sometimes those of us in agriculture, we know what we're talking about, but those folks don't. So think very carefully about your choice of words and the way that you're put together. And I'll give you a really good example. I believe that county fairs and livestock shows are absolutely a wonderful place to advocate for agriculture. We got a chance to tell a positive story. But when I see a social media post that says, my students or I am competing in the sport, it is a sport. To me, we're sending the wrong message when we talk about a show ring as a sport. Yes, it's competitive, but I think if the non-agricultural people hear that, when they hear sport, I mean, they think about balls and sticks. And they see the stick that you might have in the show ring, and they interpret it as something entirely different. So watch our language. Think about the language terminology that you use. I also think images are very important. And I'll give kudos to Kay for this, because I sat through a very informative session during the Animal Ag Alliance Summit this year. And it was a session about infographics and the psychology behind infographics. So think about images. If you're using, and if you're studying some things in tech and computer science, now's the time to combine all of those with art and technology and agriculture. Think about an infographic that would tell your story. But also, if you're using photographs, consider carefully the photographs that you show, particularly if they are coming from the county fair or the livestock show. Again, and if you've probably seen Aaron speak, a lot of times you'll see him show a series of pictures that could be interpreted wrong. We know what they mean because we've been in the show ring. So think about what you post with your images. And then finally, again, if you are going to share something, make sure you verify that. Read it thoroughly. Understand what the other person is saying. Don't just blindly share. I think it's just far too easy for us today to hit share without even reading more than the headline. And you really need to dig down and make sure that the information you choose to share has truth to it and transparency as well.
Excellent. All right, Kate.
Okay, it's always hard going last when you're asking for tips, because I will just say ditto to both what Ann said and what, oh my gosh, there goes my brain, Marla said.
The fair chick, that's it, the fair chick.
No, I know them both well, so it's too much going on up here. So I guess just to start then with what Marla just finished on, and that is, what you share, thinking about what you share. One of the things we see that makes us all go, oh, why did they do that, is sharing negative things that the activist groups are posting, because you think you're sharing with your friends, maybe on Facebook, or you're sharing with an exclusive audience. But all it takes is, if you're sharing one thing through social media to let other people know about it and it's negative, then they're sharing with their friends and contacts, and you don't know where it's going, and it could look as if you are sharing the negative stories about agriculture. So be very, very careful about that. Second of all, I would say be creative in how you share and the platforms you use. So I know with COVID-19, it's been all over the news that TikTok is the hottest thing. And I will say, as the mom of a 23-year-old college grad who has gone insane being locked up in the house, working at home with her parents most of the time until she just moved out. But she started creating all these TikTok videos, and I'm addicted to TikTok now. I'm on my elliptical in the morning, and I can get on and watch TikTok, and like 30 minutes goes by with nothing else. So, even at my age, I'm addicted to it. And I have seen a lot of farm videos on there. So think about how you can be creative to share your story in a fun way. So I've seen everything from, here's how we milk a cow, to some really good looking young farm guys, shirtless, baling hay and stacking hay, and to music. So, there's some creative ways I think you can reach an audience that connects them a little bit more with the ag community. And then I can give 4, right? So one other one would be to think about your grandparents who might own the farm, or your parents who might own the farm, who aren't familiar with how to really use Facebook or how to use Twitter or Instagram or TikTok. And, maybe think about how you can help them utilize those social media platforms as well. Because we speak to a lot of farm audiences. We know that, the generations of owners of farms are older, where people my age and older are not as open to or as adept at, using things. It took me a long time to figure out how to do Twitter. I'm pretty good now. But I had to ask for help and ask people to do that. So think about, how you can help maybe your family members who are older have an online presence and an effective online presence. And then lastly, I would encourage you to follow those platforms, influencers who are talking about food and ag issues. See what they're having to say or what questions come up, and think about how you can share factual information with those influencers to the audience. Again, not to get into the fights. Don't, be confrontational. Don't let your passion overtake you. Be thoughtful in how you present that information, but follow those people who are influencing the population with no real ag background, and see how you can contribute in a positive way to those discussions.
Excellent. So I'm fixing to throw the last question out as kind of a potpourri, so I'm just going to let y'all have at it. I'm going to throw a little bit into this just to kind of stimulate some thought here. So one of the things, students, that we always talk about, and if anybody's ever heard me speak, I'm always talking about, you got to live your brand. Live your brand, live your brand, live your brand. And I always tell people, if I go to your social media platforms and I look at what you post, share, comment on, I ought to be able to tell that you're a subject matter expert in 3 areas. And guess what? We're the ones that get to choose what we post, how we post it, and the tone by which we do it. There's an incredible opportunity there to use emotional intelligence to really show the value that we bring to farming and ranching in this country. A lot of times we wait till we get to the stock show and we want to post the image of the grand champion steer where we've got it on a rope and we're poking it with a stick, or we're holding the chickens upside down, or we're strangling the poor goat. And the public doesn't understand that, because 73% of Americans, they see a cat or a dog every single day. They don't always have the opportunity to understand what we do in rural America, suburban America, even in urban America, to raise food and fiber and animal protein. So we need to be sensitive to the images, as Marla said, and the emotional intelligence that we use to tell our story. And I would say this, we've got an entire year to tell that story, not just during the stock shows. And by the way, Marla knows I'm a fan of the stock shows, but we've got an entire year to show us taking care of that animal in its early years, to show when it's sick. We have an incredible platform to live our brand and show the public exactly what we do to feed and clothe a hungry world. So I just want to throw that into the mix. When we're thinking about tips, be very sensitive to the fact that there's a lot of people out there. We know what we know. They don't know what we know. Sounds like Yogi Berra, but we've got to be smart about this. Okay. So with that, we're going to go last round here, potpourri, and give them your best. Hey, if I'm an ag chapter, here's what I would do. I brag on the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo all the time, Marla. I think they've come up with one of the most clever ideas I've ever seen. It's called Pizza Rodeo. And they take in their arena and they make a pizza, and they bring in dairy cows and they bring in pigs and they bring it all in. They bring the 4th graders in and they show them around and they show them where it comes and they feed them pizza. I think it's genius. But I think we've got to be innovative like that. We've got to learn the language of the folks that don't understand what we do. With that, Ann, what do you tell them?
Sure. I would, first off, I would tell them to start, to get involved and really take a look at their chapter as a whole and what their chapter can offer their local community. It starts locally at home, and there are lots of people in our local communities, whether you live in a small rural town or an urban big city, because we have chapters in both areas. There are people in those local communities who have a disconnect with agriculture as well. So to start locally and put together a plan of how you guys can create a network within your local chapters to start executing and support each other in that aspect of it. They can lead by example. You're going to find out that, Aaron, you said earlier, we all have time, talents, and treasures. Well,
just a quick pause here. We had a technical glitch, little internet connection problem. But like most things in life, we'll just build a bridge and overcome. Thank you for being patient. I'm going to go ahead and pick up with you. What are your tips?
Well, kind of following on what Ann was, I think, where she was going at within their own community, I would say just look and seek out opportunities. Don't wait for somebody to come knocking on your door. Be proactive. Are there opportunities? For example, I think most chapters are wanting to do something with elementary school within their own school district, but what opportunities are there in the community? Can you partner up with your county fair? Can you approach your county fair with an idea, a concept on ag education that would, during the time of that event, appeal? There are so many resources out there that you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel on this. There are a lot of resources on communicating the ag story, particularly to children, and I think there are opportunities there. Look for other events that might be happening within your community, whether it's a parade, whether it's a farm day, even so much as going to seek out speaking opportunities at Kiwanis and Rotary and Sertoma, all of the civic clubs, and be, again, very proactive. One of the greatest things I think in the world is the fact that the Blue Jacket holds a lot of respect and high esteem. And whenever young people walk into a room, whether the audience is children or business people in the community, there is an immediate connection because that blue jacket says leadership and it says respect. So utilize that, take it very, very seriously, and seek out opportunities to tell your story and show your leadership.
Thanks, Marla. That was excellent. Ann, did you want to jump back in here and finish your thought?
Sure. I'm not sure where it cut off. So, I was just going to say, lead by example and start locally from your communities. We all have our different talents, and by joining together as a team, as that chapter does on lots of different events, use your individual talents as your members to help amplify each other, and just start. More importantly, just start and take that first step in becoming a leader on our social platforms.
Thank you, Ann. Kay, you want to wrap us up with your thoughts?
Sure. So I guess just kind of, Marla, once again, you stole one of my ideas that I had written down, but that was really to look at what research and identify like some of the local chapters of organizations like the Lions Club or ladies garden clubs, or even the Chamber of Commerce, because as FFA students and having judged some of your competitions, so the entrepreneurship, it's a great connection with your Chamber of Commerce. And it might seem a little daunting at first to, as a chapter or as students to go and approach these business clubs or community clubs, but they're always looking for speakers. They usually will meet once a month. They're always looking for innovative ideas. And as was already stated, the Blue Jacket already has a reputation. And so, this would give you some great speaking opportunities. Great ways to connect agriculture to the business communities and your local communities, but also it's a great networking. So when you are looking for jobs, they are going to think of you. So think about it from that perspective as well. It's not just about being the ag advocate, but there's something in it for you as well in your local community. And think about, your topics that you might approach them with as well. So of course, with climate change and the environment and all of this food security right now being such hot topics, there's so many ways to position agriculture as part of the solution and really connecting with, outside of the ag community. So there are a lot of resources out there, and you could go to our website for a lot of those. We have a sustainability impact report that is interactive, gives you a lot of details on all segments of animal agriculture, on topics of animal welfare, sustainability, the advancements that we've made, how far we've come from 1970 to now, and how we continue to set goals to continue to be part of the solution on some of these issues that are important to non-ag people, but they don't really think of ag necessarily as the solution. And then my second point is that when you get to college, join our College Aggies online program. It is a scholarship competition where it's 8 to 9 weeks, depending on the year, and always in the first semester of college, so always in the fall. And we use that 8 weeks to train college students who have an interest in agriculture. You don't have to be a major in ag, but an interest in ag, on being confident communicators. So we teach you how to effectively use social media. We teach you how to effectively deliver public speaking or presentations to groups. And you have mentors that are leaders through the industry who are part of this program. So it's a great opportunity to learn and really hone in your skills to be a confident communicator for life about agriculture, but it also pays a lot of money. We give out over $20,000 in scholarships each year to students. So, but it's only open to college students and grad students. So, and clubs, we have a club division as well. So your block and bridle clubs and so forth can participate as well. Sorry, I had to get that shameless plug in for the Alliance program.
I think that's great. As a matter of fact, I want to make sure we share that link because I think connecting our students to opportunities, that's what it's all about. And we appreciate the good work that you do. I'll just close us off with this comment. And I know Marla's heard me speak many times, and I love to share this, but I always tell people, if agriculture's taught me anything, it's taught me that if you want to know what the future is, grow it. And our young people, that's the easiest thing to do. Go compete for their minds. If you're a high school student right now and you walk into an elementary school, you're the coolest person in that elementary school. And if they see you and they think you're cool and they think that agriculture's cool and food is cool, you just erased maybe a lot of bad press that a celebrity might have passed on and tainted their mind with. So I just want to encourage you to live your brand, grow the future that we want, and utilize the great professional resources that we have. I can tell you that this group of professionals right here, their organizations, they're all just one phone call, one email away. Their websites are loaded with information. I will tell you, even us old folks, we've got to have mentors. We've got to have people around us that make us better. And I will tell you, this group right here makes me better at what I do. So to all of you, thank you for honoring us today. We appreciate you sharing some of your time, talent, and treasures. And I'm going to put us back on gallery view for a moment so that we can all wave to everybody and say thank you. And then if y'all will stay on for just a second, we'll do a debrief and we'll call it a day. But anyway, thank y'all so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, certification earners. I'm Kelly Newman, an ICEB, and I want to congratulate you on earning an industry certification.
This is a great accomplishment, and we commend you for your dedication, especially during these challenging times.
Now, I know today probably doesn't look like what you expected, as you wanted to celebrate this achievement, but we are celebrating you.
We feel that because you received this certification, you are going to be better equipped as a leader within our ever important and essential industry.
Hey, Texas FFA members, Be sure to tune in for the 92nd Annual Texas FFA Convention. Strive for greatness. Strive to be great. We know you are. Hey, while you're at convention, be sure to check out the Foundation's virtual scavenger hunt. We're going to be giving away a $1,000 award scholarship every day from the students who get all of the scavenger hunt questions correct. So be sure to take a chance. Go to mytexasffa.org. Good luck.